Hey Stampers! Welcome to Did You Stamp Today with Amanda Mertz, and today is my live Let's Stamp Today. We'll just wait a minute and see who can join us live while I get my other screen set for comments. And I hope everybody had a good end of last week and a good weekend and are ready to watch me stamp something new today. We'll be using some Christmas stamps and making a sweet little Christmas card. And there we go, we're up. Let's see if anybody's joined. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are watching, but it doesn't let me know. So sorry if I don't say hello. It's hard to see if people are on. There we go. Oh, Joan is here. Hi, Joan. Oh, and I see Macon is joining us. Hi, ladies. So glad you could join us this morning. Join us, join me. We're all stamping together, right? All right, well, let me just go over a couple, housekeeping announcements and stuff before we get started. Right now, we're having free shipping. Stampin' Up is doing free shipping for today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So October 22nd through 24th. Free shipping on orders of $75 or more. And of course, that's after you apply your Stampin' Rewards, it has to hit $75, and it's also before taxes are added. So it's really just how much you're paying for merchandise. So that's a great deal. You can stock up on all your supplies for your Christmas cards and Christmas projects and just get everything that you need that's on your wish list and save yourself shipping. Great deal. So that is today, Thursday, and Friday. And let's see, we've got still going on for a little bit longer, about a week and a half left, is the Stampin' Up's wonderful join special. So if you've ever thought that you want to be a demonstrator, maybe you want to start your own Stampin' Circle, you got a couple friends who you want to get together with, or you just want the discount, you want to get things early, because there's pre-orders, demonstrators get to order early. There's a join special now, so you can join Stampin' Up for $35, and you can get $125 worth of product in your starter kit. Or the second choice is you can spend $99 and you get $189 in your starter kit. So both great deals, just depends on what price point you're at, how much is on your wish list. And of course, once you're a demonstrator, you start at a 20% discount. So that's fantastic too. You still earn Stampin' Rewards. You can still take advantage of the free shipping specials that are offered. So there's really no drawback to doing it. You just need to keep up your minimums if you want to. And if you don't, you just drop. Like, you don't have to send anything back. You don't have to send in like the catalogs you didn't hand out, like nothing, but you get free business supplies. You get tons of support from Stampin' Up. Uplines are great and answer all your questions. I'd be happy to work with you and however kind of a demonstrator you'd want to be, but I'd welcome you to my team if you're interested, and if you just have questions and you're kind of thinking about it, but it might not be the right time, but you want to kind of be ready for maybe the next time, feel free to reach out and leave some questions. Leave a DM, comment here, wherever. I'm happy to reach out and talk to you about that. And for my local stampers, today is the last day to RSVP for the October 28th Stamp Club. So if you're planning to come to either the 9:30 class or the 7 p.m. class, RSVP through my calendar, but today is the last day. I'm going to start cutting paper and getting projects ready for that. So I need to know how many are coming. And I wanted to show you all, I got some pre-order from the November online exclusives that are coming out. So I got to order early. See, as a demonstrator, you get to order early. So I got some of the products, and these are coming in the new packages. So let me just show you. Let's see. This is a big background stamp. It's called Lasting Linen. It's fantastic. So it comes in a big sleeve, just like the dies come, but it's a little bit bigger. And I wanted to show you, I went to Home Goods yesterday and poked around for some different storage options, just for the way that I have my stamp desk set up. And I wanted to show you what I found. So I found, let me back up a little so you can see. This is long, skinny, it's like a refrigerator organizer, I think, or for spices or something that you can put in and slide in and out. There's little handles on the end. But I'm going to do, let me turn it this way so you can see. I'm going to turn them this way and just have them rest in here. So look at how much more space there is. So I can get a ton more, and I can fit two groupings. And let me see if I can slide it around to show you kind of where I'm going to. So right here, let's back it up here. So this is where I have my all my stamp sets lined up currently. They just stack up here. So once they all convert over, I'm just going to slide this bin in, and they'll all be facing me this way. So I bought 2 bins, so I'll be able to fit 2 bins right here and put them in the space. So I just wanted to show you guys that, because I know a lot of people have been kind of worrying about how they're going to store things differently, and like go like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods have a ton of these plastic bins with different sizes and depths and everything, so you can definitely find something that will fit your space. Also, you can check thrift stores, and that's kind of hit or miss, but you might hit the mother lode and find exactly what you need for your space. But measure where you put them and how you might want to have them organized, and just write down the sizes that you might be looking for and check it out when you're at the store. But I wouldn't panic over how your storage is set up. I think it'll be fantastic because you'll be able to fit way more stamp sets and die sets on your shelves. So I just wanted to point that out just to show you all what my solution is to that. So let's get going. Oh, hi Andrea, how are you? Yes, it is a good option for storing. I'm happy I found them yesterday. But let me swing everything around here and switch the camera. And let's see here if I can get zoom. Oh, something happened. There we go. That's a little too close. Every week they're like, the zoom is like a little bit iffy. There we go. All right, so today we're using the Woodland Scenery stamp set. Super cute, all the cute little images. They might be a little small for some people, but I think if you group them the right way, you can make some really sweet scenes. And then our sentiment is going to come from the wishing you joy. And if you're trying to be frugal with your Christmas stamp sets, this is a great one. This one is, let me see what I wrote down. It's $17. It's $17. Like that's, you could make a ton of cards, just change out your colors and stuff. And then this sentiment set, the wishing you joy, is only $18. So if you want a little bit of variety in the words and the fonts, this is a good one to invest in. And just, you know, you could make all of your Christmas cards depending on how many you want to make. I mean, the sky's the limit, I think, for using the same stamp set over and over. I hope when you come and see what I make with them that you get some good ideas, and you don't have to have 50 stamp sets for Christmas to be able to, you know, make some cute cards. All right, so let me slide these over and show you some of the supplies we're using. So we're going to start with a crumb cake base. So we've just got that. It's 5.5 by 8.5. And we've got basic white for the insert. We've got basic white envelope. I've got, let's see, I'm missing some of my supplies here. There they are. I tucked them in a bin to stay organized, and then I didn't trust it. Where are they? Here we go. Oops, I'm dropping. And then I've got a piece of, this is, oh, now I have to look. I always get them mixed up. It's the fall paper, but this side is kind of reminds me of, if you can see, it almost looks like little snowflakes. I think it looks like little snowflakes, and I think it looks like the little snowflakes that are in this set. So this is the Gathering Together specialty paper, so the back side is fall themed. But I'm using this one, and this is basic beige pattern, but it's just a nice neutral for a background. I've got some scraps of basic white. We're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. And then I've got 3 squares. Let me measure here. We've got the 1 5/8. So 1 5/8 square. And then I've got some pieces of scrap crumb cake. We're going to do some die cutting. So let's get started. Slide some stuff out of the way. Let's get our base taken care of first. Kind of start from the back and work our way forward. Get out the bone folder and get a nice crisp edge. Trying to see. Oh, Joan says she needs 50 sets. Well, you know what, Joan? You better start working, right? 50 sets of cards. I do maybe a little bit more than that. But if you get started now and make some designs that you like and just keep using, like, just swap out the colors. Do the same card and just change out the colors so you don't get bored. Do like 6 or 8 since you've already got everything out. I think that is very doable. All right, so first we're going to do a little bit of ribbon, and I think this ribbon is retired. I think it came out last year. It's cherry cobbler and gold. It almost looks like copper. I think you could probably mix and match your metals with this if you were doing any embossing or anything. But I'm just gonna do a little bit on the back, and I'm gonna see probably right there, and just gonna do a little bit of tear and tape to hold my ends down. I want to do this first before I put it on the card base, because after that it's too late to wrap it around, and then you're kind of stuck having to figure it out. I mean, there's a way. You could use the tear and tape to hold it down. You can glue it down. You can just not do a piece across the back, but make sure that's straight. You can use Stampin' Seal, just or snail, to hold everything together. Oh, Andrea asked, this is cherry cobbler. So I don't know how well it shows up on the screen with the lights above it, but it's a cherry cobbler base, which I always think is, it's like the perfect Christmas red, I think. It's not too bright, it's not too dark. Oops. Trying to get my base lined up, and the background of the Gathering Moments Designer Series paper is just the same size as the card front, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Hopefully I've gotten that lined up pretty good. There we go. There we go. So now we don't need to worry about peeling up an edge and trying to stick the ribbon underneath. And let's see, why don't we get our die cutting out of the way, and then we don't need to pull that out again. So again, I'm going to die cut with my crumb cake, and we're going to use, I'm going to have to do it 3 times, so bear with me here. We're going to use the biggest square out of the perennial postage. So that's that one, the biggest square. The rest of them, that's the smallest square, and the rest of them are rectangles. So the biggest square if you're trying to figure out what you were using if you're going to recreate this at home. And we'll run it through. And I like layering some shapes, especially when you're using smaller stamp sets that might get kind of lost on their own. You kind of need to give them a little bit of weight to beef them up a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Use the dies you've got. If you've got stylish shapes, you could do circles and squares. The perennial postage is nice. Let's see, any of the label dies, you can use the label dies to kind of beef up the images. But this one, I just thought it was nice and clean with a little detailed edge that worked well for these images. And I think I used, when I made, I used the Woodland Scenery a few weeks back. Maybe it's even more than that now. And I made the 4 seasons card with colored in the trees for all the seasons. That one, I think I used the perennial postage die set as well. All right, now let's get to the fun stuff, the stamping. Let's see, what are we gonna do first? Let me see, we're gonna use crumb cake today. We're gonna use pool party, pecan pie, and early espresso. So we're kind of sticking with the neutrals with a little bit of blue. And, oh, there it is. I lost one. It was stuck underneath. Try to keep track of my squares where I am. All right, so I'm gonna start with crumb cake, and I think I'm gonna use, I've got the, I don't know if you can see, that's easier to see. We've got the stamp with the 3 trees, and I'm going to try to get it straight, and I'm going to do it a little bit more towards the top of my square. And remember, my basic white square is 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. And so I'm just going to do each little scene on its own, and then we'll do all the fussy cutting together, because I don't know. So then you guys can check out and go check your email and all that while it's boring fussy cutting. So I'm going to use Pool Party, and I'm going to use little snowflakes. And remember I said the snowflakes? Let me stamp a snowflake. Let me stamp it on a piece of scrap, and then I can hold it up and show you. Oops, that one's a little, we're going to stamp off. So there's the little snowflake. And then I don't know if you can see the little snowflake detail on the designer series paper, but I think they're very similar. So I don't know if anybody else would notice that, but I like pulling those little details together. So I'm just going to stamp off for my snowflakes, just so they're a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to put them behind the tree in kind of a random fashion. And another one up there. All right, that's going to be one. And let's see, let's do the other tree since I already have that one out. And where is it? Oops, fell off the block. I was playing around with this set yesterday, trying to make some other designs. This looks like the tree is crooked. Let's straighten that out, huh? There we go. All right, now we're going to do this one. And I'm going to do this square, and I'm going to put it a little bit over to the side. And then I'm going to, where is this? I'm going to do the little deer. We're going to do the little deer in pecan pie. And we're just going to do the deer a little bit more in the forefront. There we go. And then again, we're going to add some snowflakes. Kind of turn my stamp a little bit around a bit so they're not all kind of facing in the same direction. And maybe one more over here. So my Pool Party ink pad is quite juicy, but you'll see it'll dry a little bit lighter. Here's the first one we did. It's already drying a little bit lighter. So sometimes give your images a second to dry and see if it's, you know, too light or too dark, depending on what you want to do. Oh, you know what? I forgot we're using cherry cobbler too. I forgot to pull that one out. And this one we're going to use the little house. And we're going to stamp that one right in the middle. I'll try to line it up without getting my head. There we go. And again, some snowflakes, because all 3 panels are going to coordinate. So we're going to do some snowflakes around the house. Let's see, I think that's good. Oh, maybe one more up here. That one kind of got smushed. I kind of rocked my block, but it is what it is. All right, so these are the start of our 3 panels. And now we're going to do a little bit of stamping that's going to end up being fussy cut. I'm going to clean off my house stamp because we're going to do 2 things for the house. So the first, I'm going to stamp pecan pie, and I'm going to ink it up, and I'm just going to do the door. So I'm not going to care really the rest of the image as long as I get a good impression of the door. And then I'm going to stamp that off, kind of clean it real quick, and then I'm going to do the second one with early espresso, and I'm just going to do the roof. So I just want to make sure I get the roof and the chimney. Well, the chimney's getting cut off, but you kind of can't do the roof without the chimney. So I'm just going to stamp that one. Let me get in the middle of the screen so you can see. There we go. And then we're going to use the, where is it? The adorable little chubby bear. And we're going to do another one to fussy cut, little bear. And then the last one we're going to use in the early espresso is the little stack of like logs. So give you a good look at those. And then I'm just going to get out my fussy cutting super tool, paper snips. And well, you know what? That's not the best image, but should I do it again? Maybe we'll do that one again. That might bother me. Let's see. Let me grab another one. Let's see if we can get a better roof image. Let's see. I don't know if I didn't let it sit. Sometimes for the photopolymer, if you let it sit against the cardstock, yeah, that one's better. It's a little clearer. It lets the ink soak in. Sometimes if you stamp down and pull up too fast, it doesn't give a chance for the ink to soak in and you get some feathering on the edges. So that's a little tip. If you have some problems sometimes, try it again and let your stamp rest on the ink or on the cardstock a little bit longer, you know, just for a beat longer. So I'm just going to cut this out. So I cut off the chimney because we're going to leave the chimney cherry cobbler. And let me cut off the rest of this. Hopefully this isn't too boring. We can chit chat. So everybody, how about you, if you're watching live, and even if you're watching the replay later on Facebook or YouTube, how many Christmas cards do y'all send out? And do you do a mix? Do you do a mix of handmade versus store-bought? Or do you just do all store-bought? I probably send out, or I mail maybe like 70, and then I usually have 10 to 15 more that I hand out to people who I see, I might make them cookies or a little gift. But I send out quite a few. We have big families, so every cousin gets one, and all down the line, all the aunts and uncles and friends that we don't get to see very often in person. We keep in touch with the Christmas cards, but I send out quite a few. All right, so there's our roof. See how that's gonna go? We're gonna stick that right on there, and it just gives it a little extra look. What do I do with the door? There's the door, and here's our pecan pie door. And I'm just gonna trim this one really close to the edge. And so I actually have a whole stack of Christmas cards that are left over from last year, but I can't use them because I don't remember which ones I've sent out. Some of them are duplicates. I made like a stack. So I'm hoping to find somebody that maybe wants to buy some Christmas cards, even though they're last year's design. So I know you guys don't want that because you're going to make your own, right? But I'm hoping that I have a couple friends who may want at least a couple. So after you get your fussy cut pieces out, I'm going to do the glue on this. I'm just going to do little tiny dots on the roof line. If I can get my glue to come out without fussing it at me. It's got a blob at the end. And then I can put it into place. There we go. Don't need a lot of the glue. A little goes a long way, especially when you're working with tiny pieces like this. So you're just gonna put this one on. And I know not everybody likes fussy cutting, but I think for a simple set like this, it gives you some options to use to kind of, add some dimension and all that jazz. So let me see. I think while we've got the glue out, ooh, look, it picked up some of the glue blob on the end of my glue. Picked up some of the cherry cobbler ink. And yep, you can see it right there. That's all right. This is just, maybe this will go to somebody who is hard of sight. They won't see that little shadow up there. All right, the next one we're gonna do is the little wood pile. And I'm gonna just do the quick. So for the roof and the door, I did not leave an outline because I was trying to paper piece that right back onto the image. So I didn't leave an outline. Usually I leave a little white outline on my fussy cut, just because then you don't need to quite be so precise. And I'm gonna, but this one is not going against anything. We're just gonna pop that one up with a mini dimensional. It fits right there. And we're gonna pop that one up right down here by the deer. And we're gonna glue that one down. You can see this is a pretty simple card. I'm making it more complicated with the fussy cutting, but you could just stamp all the pieces down, and then you could pop up the whole panel if you wanted to do that. And now for our last fussy cut, we're gonna do the bear. So again, I'm just gonna leave a little outline around him. And the trick to fussy cutting is you keep your scissors kind of at the same spot, and you just kind of turn your paper around and around, and you just kind of keep your hand with the scissors still and let the turning get you to where you need to be. And I think I'm going to cut out that because there's a little blob of ink that got on from the stamp. So we're going to cut that part out just to clean it up a little bit. And then maybe, oops, it's getting smaller and smaller to hold. Oh, Andrea says she makes about 30, and we already saw that Joan said that she makes 50. So we're all hopefully well on our way to hitting our numbers. Maybe, I don't know. I need to count and see see how many more. I've been making cards since Christmas cards, probably since August when we did our demonstrator pre-order for the September to December mini. So I've got a few made, but I don't think I have anywhere near what I need. I might have to start ramping up production. So now I just put 2 little mini dimensionals, and I'm just gonna put, let's see, I'm gonna put my little bear right there. He's walking in front of the trees in the woods. I don't know, something sticking out there. Just right there, little off center. And then we're just gonna glue him down and get him placed on the inside of my perennial postage die cut. Hopefully he's lined up. And slide all the stuff out of the way. Now we're just going to see how we want to arrange our, I think I want some more of the cherry cobbler up there. I'm going to overlap the edges just a little bit, and I'm going to offset, I think, so they're not all exactly lined up. Yep. The glue on my fingers is having everything move. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. A rough spot where they should go. Right there. Got my card base tilted a little bit. I want to make sure I get it straight. A little bit of glue on the back. I'm just going to slide that one under there. And now for the bear, the fat bear. He's so cute. I'm going to do him over slightly so then he's not exactly lined up. So that's a little bit more of an interesting layout. And using the glue gives me a little wiggle room, which I always like, just to make sure everything is lined up. Now we are going to do a fork bow. I know some of my regular customers, you guys I've been making you make fork bows for years, and I reteach it every time. And once you make them, like maybe do 10 in a row, you won't forget. So you're just going to take a length of ribbon, and you're going to, this one, smaller ribbon. This one's about 8 inches long. Just put it around a fork. This is just a regular serving fork that came with my kitchen silverware that I've just kept in the stamp room for years and years, and it's just mine now up here, and we just use other forks for downstairs in the kitchen. You wrap it around the fork. I'm right-handed, so I keep my tails going to the right. If you're left-handed, you can do it the opposite way, but it comes out the same. And you want the tail that is on the bottom, so down here closest to the desktop, you want that one to be a little bit longer, because that's the one you're going to be maneuvering with. So you need a little bit more length on that one. So you're at the bottom, you're going to come up to the front of the fork, and you're just going to slide that one tail through the center tine. There we go. This is slippery. And then I'm going to adjust and make it tighter. And so you'll see how that one's facing towards the back now. You're going to bring it back up to the front through the center. Let me slide this out of the way. And then you're just going to take the 2 tails and tie a knot. So did you see that top tail did not move at all? That one, all you're doing is just using that to tie a knot. And then you're going to slide it off, and you've got a sweet little bow. Pretty cute, pretty easy, and it makes just the right bow. And this thinner ribbon works better. You can do it with like kind of heavier ribbon. It just gives you a bigger knot in the center. And let me see. Let me do, which is a good one. Here we go. Any of the seam binding or the faux linen, any of those work really, really well, because they're a little bit lighter weight. So again, got about 8 inches here. The bottom tail is a little bit longer. You can see sticks out a little bit more. So I'm going to bring that one up through the middle. So then that one is down behind, and I just kind of adjust a little bit to tighten it. And then I'm going to take the one that's in the back. I'm going to bring it back towards the front underneath through that center tine. And then, oops, it's trying to get away from me. Back through the center, and then just tie a knot. Easy, right? Easy. And these are perfect. You can get a bigger fork and make a bigger bow. My mom, after I showed her how to, she found this at the thrift store. So like a big salad fork. So I can make bigger bows with that. So it just depends on what look you're going for. Slide it off. And there we go. Oh, I see Carol. Hi, Carol. She says, my sister lives in northern Michigan in beautiful log cabin. It's 300 acres. Goodness, I wish I had 300 acres of woods. Lots of deers and bears. This would be a great card. It absolutely would be a great card for her. Like, it's got everything. The cabin, the bears, and the deer. Maybe not as many as she's got, but that sounds like kind of living the dream some days. You can stay far, far away from people and stamp all day, right? All right, I'm going to put my fork bow with a little bit of a glue dot here. And I'm going to put that right on the ribbon that we put on earlier. I'm going to trim off the ends, tidy that up. And then, let's see, we are going to use, I'm going to use the Little Noel. I'm just going to use a little bit of early espresso, and hopefully I don't goof. We're just going to do that one right there. Noel. And finally, how about a few, these are the pressed flower motifs, and they're a little bit rustic looking, so I thought they might add a nice little something. How about we do 2 up here, a big one and a little one. And then how about another little one down here? And then that kind of brings your eye. So your eye just kind of goes down, and you kind of catch a little bit of everything until you finally land at the Noel. So that's what we're gonna do there. And let's see, we still have to do, let's do the inside and the envelope. So we've got lots of blank space here. And how about we bring back our trees and our pecan pie ink, and we can just do, let's see. Oh, not pecan pie, what am I doing? I used crumb cake. I caught it just in time. Not that that would have been a tragedy, but it wouldn't have really matched, right? There we go. We'll go back, we'll do our trees and another set of trees. And how about we do the deer? We could do the deer here. And then another fat bear with our early espresso. He's going that way. We'll do the bear there. He's so cute. And of course, some snowflakes to tie it in from the front. And again, I'm going to stamp those off and just kind of add those around. And then some around the deer and the trees here. There we go. And of course, you can always add a larger sentiment on the inside, however you want. I'm just going to leave this one plain. It's going to be a little bit more simple on the inside. There we go. And of course, you cannot forget to make sure everyone knows you made this card by hand, start to finish. Got to put your hand stamped by on the back or sign it and date it. I probably should have been doing that for years, but hand stamped by Amanda Mertz. And there we go. And let me bring in the envelope and you can see the whole thing together. Slide everything out of the way. And let me pull in a couple more that I've used the Woodland Scenery set to make. So that's today's, super cute, using, you know, the little squares to make a scene, tells you down. And this one I've done similar things, but I used way more Pool Party and did a little bit fussy cutting with Real Red for the door and the sled. But it's a similar look, and I used the Stylish Shapes dies for this one to kind of pop that one out. And then this is one, I used the stamps to make a little scene inside the little Christmas bauble, Christmas ornament. So you could do that too. And then here's the one I did a couple weeks ago on the Let's Stamp Today Live, where I made the scenes with the single tree and just used Stampin' Blends to color in the leaves to make the 4 seasons. So this is a really sweet set. And like Carol was saying, like if you've got somebody in your life who's, you know, living out in the woods and living the good life with 300 acres, this might be a good card to recreate and send them and give them, maybe stamp the house the same color as their house and, you know, give it a little bit of personalization. So thanks so much for joining me today. Again, I'm Amanda Mertz and I stamp at Did You Stamp Today. You can find me on all the socials under there. You can rewatch this anytime on YouTube. I'll be putting it up this afternoon, and then you can also watch the replay for the next 30 days on Facebook. So thank you all so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to stamp with you. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much. Have a great day.